Hey everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm making a masculine card design and I'm playing with Altenews Geometric Menagerie. And I think it's super fun and trendy and I'm seeing, the triangles coming up everywhere. And I thought this was a great combination, would make a great guy card. And I'm going to start by prepping my watercolor paper here with an anti-static pouch. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink up the giraffe with my Versamark pad. I'm going to be doing some embossing and I like to prep the surface there, especially because I'm going to be using Stampendous white detail embossing powder, which is finer grind than your average embossing powder. And I like this when I have an image that's got a lot of tight spots or areas or really small sentiments where I want to really preserve those finer details if I'm going to emboss it. So this embossing powder works great for that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my heat gun. Looks like there were a couple spots I missed. I had to come back in. It's hard to see there on the watercolor paper, but it's there. And I'm going to take my Peerless watercolor palette. This has become my new favorite way to watercolor. And you should check out the In Touch newsletter article on the blog. I have a link there if you want to make your own Peerless watercolor palette. It's really fun and it's a great portable way to transport your watercolors. And I'm using a small tipped brush to just wash some clean water first over the image. And then I'm just going to pick up the color from these squares with my water brush and just tip it, touch it barely to the water surface and just let the water kind of wick it out of the brush and onto those triangles there. And it's kind of neat to have the embossing lines there because it kind of contains the color there within those spots. And I'm just going to randomly choose different areas with this particular color palette. I just thought it was really fun and looked great for a masculine design, but you could certainly, to make a feminine version, switch to pinks and tangerines and reds and get all crazy with that. But anyway, this is just super fun and it's going really quick and easy. And I just wipe my brush clean against a paper towel when I want to switch colors. But isn't that a neat effect? It almost looks like he's stained glass. And I'm just loving how fun these are. And I'm going to finish adding the sentiment with some black cardstock. I have some scraps in my bin. This is Licorice by Card Shop by Basil. It's part of their Card Shop cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and use the same white embossing powder, the detail powder there, to emboss that sentiment and trim it out. And then I was kind of winging it on my layout here, so I decided I wanted a tag shape, so I notched the corners there with or angle trimmed them with my corner chomper there. And then I decided, because it's a woman's prerogative, change your mind, right? My tag was going to be too big for the layout I ultimately decided I was going to go with. So I had to trim it down and just whack off those corners one more time, especially on the right-hand side. And I trimmed off the bottom. I decided I wanted more height at the top of my tag. So you'll see why I went that direction in a minute. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get a hole punch there in the middle. Had to use my grid there to help me get it centered, because a lot of times when I eyeball it, I'm not centered. So we'll go ahead and make a reinforcer out of that same scrap of black paper using the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile and then a 1/2-inch circle punch to just center that little hole inside the larger hole there. And then I'm just going to glue that on there with some Mono Multi. This is a great glue for things like this because it dries clear and it's a very nice strong bond and it gives you a little bit of open time so you can kind of futz around. If you don't get that quite in place, it will allow you to wiggle it around and get it in place before it starts to set up. And then I wanted to add some texture to my white card base. And the card base is the Neenah 110 Solar White. I love the heavy weight of this cardstock. And I'm just going to take some more color and flick it from that acrylic block. I just transferred some color from the Peerless palette onto that acrylic block and then took my water brush and squeezed it out to make a little bit more of a puddle and then just flick it there onto your card. It's a great way to add a real fine spatter. And then I'm going to take some washi tape. I'm having fun with my washi tape lately. And I just love bringing in this pop of black. And this adds some pattern and that black accent without being too overwhelming on the card. And then just to kind of mix things up, I decided to whack off 1/2 inch off the side of the card front. I'm going to take my washi tape here. That's my safety cap there. I lost the cap to my craft knife, and so a cork is my new safety cap there. And I'm going to fold this over. This is just kind of a fun, different way to add your washi tape and just add a little bit of interest and, you know, just a little bit of something different there on the card front, so it creates that extra feeling of layers without actually adding any more layers. And then we'll go ahead and mount the tag, and I just put some foam tape there on the back of the tag. And this is a trick I learned from my friend Sherry Carroll. You just remove the liner papers from the center pieces and make sure your piece is on there nice and straight. And then you can come in there with your tweezers into those tight spots and remove the remaining liner papers. I just thought she was so genius when she did that. It's like, I'm stealing that idea. And then to mount my sentiment, I'm also going to add some more foam tape, and I doubled up on the left-hand side because that side's going to be hanging off the edge of the tag, and I wanted to have an even elevation going across that little sentiment portion there. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to take some black hemp twine and thread that through. That's a dental floss threader. I got that at the toothpaste aisle at the drugstore, and you just use those dental floss threaders. You can use a needle if you have a needle, but the black hemp is kind of thick and it's hard to get it through the eye of a needle, so those little dental floss threaders worked awesome for this. And then I just used my tweezers there to clamp down the center of the twine because I didn't have an extra hand there to hold down the knot. And the card is finished, and I think it's such a great look. I love how trendy this is and modern, and I think the card turned out awesome. Thanks for watching.